So, aloha, and today we're going to be looking at the major authorities. And the major authorities are not any more major than the minor authorities, they simply are more common. And so that's, again, guys, these are just some of these terms, especially those of you that are going on, to be guides or go further with your education. These are terms that you're going to come across, again and again. And one most of the time authorities are broken up. Major authorities being the sacral, the emotions in the spleen, making up shit I can't even remember. We'll see in a second. Most of the planet, and then the minor, the four that we covered last week, which are really a lot less frequent and so forth, except in human design. In human design, we have a huge amount of these minor authority peoples coming because clearly somewhere in their body there's something going, what the fuck? So I'm glad that you guys are here. Anyway, so you will be dealing with a lot of minor authorities, and especially if it's your first time or two trying to explain that to someone, and you need some help, feel free to ask any of us here for some guidance on that, because it is, it's a little tricky. Okay, and this is probably the what people were getting sick of hearing me say, but they finally got. That before we ever get to talk about authorities or what's coming in or what the program's doing or what passenger consciousness is or whether anybody is doing anything or not, we get to come to grips with the reality, and I say reality because it's something that can easily be physically tested by any one of you at any time, is the fact that you are living in a vibrational, energetic bubble. It's a bubble you cannot see, you cannot taste, you cannot smell. You can feel, actually, when people move into it, which is what I mean you can verify. But it goes around you, 2 arm lengths every direction, absolutely no control, trajectory set, flying through space. Think of a bubble or a piece of stardust flying through the universe. That's your life. Piece of sand on the beach. That's your life. And, for good or bad, we have this thing called self-reflected consciousness, a mind that came in and says, oh, this is my life and I'm in charge of it. And then at that point, that is when you begin to suffer because you're out of phase with what life really is. So everybody got it. Bubble flying through space, no access, no control. You're going there. Human design, what does it allow? Well, it allows you some mechanics so you can learn to relax inside this bubble and quit banging your head against the wall. I love how I use the same slide every week and it's a completely different talk. This is why I will never be out of business. I mean, since birth, this is what you're up against, guys, especially as guides. When you're coming in and you're actually showing someone, okay, here's your bubble. Here's how you interact with life. Don't believe me. Just try it. Just watch it. And then you get to this place called authority, and you're going, okay, there's a place in your body that accesses your body's intelligence about what is correct for your life or not, based on your bubble in space, based on your frequency in space. What is your bubble aligned to? The form's truth comes from a very different place. It's not mental. It's exactly what we've not been taught to do. I mean, our whole life, figure out what you want to do, make your goals, work towards, even credentials. I mean, even my little, I can get off on all the credentials now available in human design as if any of that means anything about you living this. No, it means you've studied some shit. Okay, great. You want to study some shit? Go study some shit. Okay? You can buy books, you can study all day long. And I'm not discouraging any of you from studying stuff. But that has nothing to do with flying one of these spaceships. Nothing. What it does allow for is an incredible level of awareness and passenger consciousness that is not really or has not been accessible at certainly not the same mechanical level as far as anybody on this planet knows. Okay? I mean, there might have been some Fruit Loop off in a cave somewhere there. Who knows? You know? I mean, Ra fell in a well. Somebody else could have fallen in a cave. Who knows? You know, but this is where everyone in their life is. What the fuck? Do I is do I live here? Do I move there? Do I learn about human design? Do I quit my job? Do I marry my boyfriend? Do I tell him to go away? I mean, we all live in the this and that of mind. Now, guys, clearly I want you to get it. That's all mind is. This and that. So if you're in the world of this and that, you know you're in the world of your fucking mind. Because passenger consciousness is like, seems like we're going this way. And yeah, sometimes there can be some sharp cuts to that and some quick course corrections and so forth. It's not like there's no navigational awareness whatsoever. It's just like you can't really say this is what's happening because you don't know what's happening. You just know that this is what's happening. And that's a very different place to communicate from and a less popular one among the world. But if you all start with this, and every one of your clients, every person that ever comes to you from human design is going to come to you for this. What about what the fuck? What's my purpose? What's my goal? I was joking. Was that yesterday? I was like, I can do 30 lectures, you know, finding your purpose with human design, getting more love with human design, making more money with human design, better sex with human design, getting more. I mean, dude, if
marketing
I could,
with human design.
What?
Marketing with human
yes,
design.
Yes,
my favorite.
Yeah, better marketing with human design. Market yourself better with human design. Oh my God, dude, I can have a fucking field day. I mean, I can go put on one of those button-down shirts. You know, we can get some couple of flowers back here, and dude, away I'll go. Billionaire by 40, right? Except I'm already 40. See, I don't even know how old I am anymore. All right, so, but I can't do it. I can't get around that because that's not what we're doing. And if you're in my class or you're working with me, that's the last thing in the world we're doing. We're not telling anybody anything. We're helping them learn how to fly their spaceship. I'm helping you learn how to fly your spaceship. That's a pay it forward dues you owe me. And I do mean you owe me because the forces work like that. I've noticed this after 14 years. They collect interest. They give a little, they take a lot. You know, and I don't mean you owe me personally, but that people are going to come to you, and one of the most beautiful things you're going to give them is a place that's not their mind to make decisions from. Amazing thing you might be able to do for someone. So just reviewing. In case you forgot since last week, you're flying through space at 150,000 miles an hour. Those of you that are bored can consider that. Those of you that want to take some time off might consider that there is no such thing. Those of you that think you need more, want more, going places, need to become more in order to whatever more, just put more at the end of the sentence. More is the buzzword. Dude, if you're making mental decisions at 150,000 miles an hour, this is what it's going to look like. Dude, you may even get what you think you want. You may push yourself through whatever barrier or door. But dude, it's not. You're going to end up frustrated, angry, bitter, disappointed. Okay, it's what's going to happen to you. And what's fun is that we get to now have this perspective where we watch this happen to people all the time. I watch people get exactly what they think they want. I've watched it in human design, which is even funnier. Yeah. So at this time in our evolution, in our present state, mind as we know it, is an invasive species. It's killing the humans. It's killing the humans. I look at the human species, I look at them no different than any other living organism, And I see mind like this thing that is like attached itself to the head of the human and then basically drilled eye holes out so it could see what was going on, so it could tell us what to do. I mean, I see it as that animated, guys. I do. I see people's minds and their agendas and what they think they want and what they think that will make them happy. And I see it like it's just sucking the life force out of it. Like it's just, the mind is just pulling all the juice out of the battery of the human life, and the vehicle will just die, and the mind will, of course, what does the mind get? The passenger just gets another vehicle. So there is no real motivation on the mind's part to take care of this vehicle. Something you might want to consider. And human design allows us to move away from our mind into our body's awareness, into our form's consciousness. It allows mind a very different role, something it's never had. No, we've never had this opportunity, really, at this sort of scale or level to develop, hey, this is witness consciousness, this is presence, this is what's happening. I got them all, right? Mm-hmm. Good for me. I'm brilliant. So understanding that there is a hierarchy of authorities. Guys, this is like, I mean, this is if I was one of those teachers that was going to go, okay, where's the bunny? You know, maybe this would be on an exam somewhere. But, you know, to really know that, especially the big three, you know, emotional, if they've got emotional authority, if the emotions are defined, their emotional authority, period. That's half the planet. Mm-hmm. Then we have sacral authority, that's a third of the planet. And then we got splenic, that's 10%. So yeah, we got 90% right there. Okay, basically, what, 50, 80, 90. Yeah, over 90% in those big three. Okay, the ones we're looking at today. So just know that. And in a lot of charts, you'll see a lot of these things defined, but there is a hierarchy. And until you're really clear on that, you know, it's fine, just ask. We all get confused. Every now and then I look at a chart and go, wait, what the fuck? I mean, it's a circuit board. It takes a moment to get it, you know, to see how the energy is moving, what affects what. You know, and the majority of the people, obviously, emotional, sacral, and splenic, and we got that, right? 50, 30, and 10, yeah. So basically 90% of the planet, with the other 10%, roughly. Am I got that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, roughly. Being the minor authorities that we did last week. Now, again, just a reminder, because when your friends come screaming, I don't have any authority, that when it says none, that means that they are either a mental projector, which means they have a process of outer authority, or their lunar authority, which is a reflector. So if they see none, the first thing you say is, no, you don't have none, you have authority. It's simply not an inner authority. You have an authority. Let's sit and talk about it, and you can then go on to be upset about that some other way, because they do anyway. You know, dude, it doesn't matter whether you got the will or you didn't get the will. You got the emotions, you didn't get the emotions. You're a projector, you should be a generator. I mean, dude, I don't care what you got. Your mind could give a shit less. It is definitely interested in everything else. Okay, so don't worry. Nobody got a better coloring book. Okay, whatever coloring book you got, your mind wants a different one. Now, at a certain point, that starts to change a bit, but then you still kind of go, oh, it'd be nice. Well, projectors really. So you will often see, again, like I said, I mean, there's some of you in this class, dude, you've got emotions, you've got sacral, and you've got spleen. They're all the big three. Now, the solar plexus, you know, this is feeling over all time. And if you have this, that's it. It's over. That's your authority. You're not going any further. Now, if you've got that and you've got a generator engine, yes, okay, that's nice. And you can be splenic, and the spleen can tell the sacral, and the sacral can say, yes, we'd love to do it, but until it's emotionally clear, it still ain't right. You're still out of sequence with what's actually physically happening in your body. So everybody got that, right? I mean, you can have intuition, you can have a sacral response, you can have an intuition, something's good for you. You could have a sacral response. Yeah, that sounds really good. And then a week later, you could be emotionally going, fuck no, man. So just know that. Okay. And that's all. Just know that. And don't get confused if you see more than one of these things. Okay. Solar plexus feeling over time, right? Solar plexus feeling over time. Sacral energy in the now, response to energy in the now, and the spleen, survival or health in the now. You know, healthy, not healthy. All right. Solar plexus authority. Emotional authority, solar plexus authority, either one. It can be a generator, projector, or manifester. Over time, a feeling or sense or just sort of seems like or kind of sort of feels like or just should sort of be that way feeling. Okay, that's my best emotional interpretation. It's the newest awareness. It is coming aware. It is not fully aware. So, dude, if you're emotional and you're sure you should do something, you should be sure that you're fucked. Okay? Because it should just be getting to this place of it just feels right. Now, remember, all of you have an aura first, you know. So whether or not it really feels like something needs to be initiated, moved, or manifested, whether or not you're a projector and it really feels that these people see you, recognize you, and get you, and there's you take some time with that. Or a generator, there's some sort of energy, but hey, let's not get ahead of ourselves. You know, we are the, you know, if you want to be cool, if you want to really be cool, okay, be emotional, because then you can be cool. Yeah, we'll see. You know, the mental projector too can get that. I was having that discussion too. Yeah, we'll see. You know, but there's nothing going to happen fast, and the more that you get that there's nothing going to happen fast, the better your life is going to be. In that it really is the potential of spirit consciousness, where we're moving towards away from this genetic pattern that we've all been living in, which is what we call the not self, and which is everyone's here's dilemma, is all you want is something different from yourself. That's what your genes want, that's what your mind wants, that's what your open centers wants, that's what everybody else wants. And now we're moving to this time, supposedly, if any of this mythology is true, where actually, regardless of sight or you know, it's almost like for the emotional being, if we could remove some of your senses for a while so that you could really develop this feeling sense. One of the things we're about to see is just how vast this is and what a deep exploration the emotions itself is. But it really is what people call spirit consciousness. You resonate together because you feel right together, not because they're the cool kids at the high school or these are the rich kids at the party. There's none of that. There's not. These people feel right to me. These other people don't feel right to me. And then you find out that those are the perfect people for you. And you guys are on the cusp of that. You're on the front lines of that awareness and what's happening. So, yeah, it's the potential for spirit consciousness. And remember, you know, a lot of emotional people really dig that, you know. I'm part of the evolution of spirit consciousness. Yes, you are. Now quit being a dumbass. Yes, you are. Now sit down and bring some spirit consciousness. All right. So emotional beings, you know, they have this fixed chemistry, but the chemistry itself is moving. The you know, this flowing chemistry colors how they see every moment. Okay. Now, you know, I've said this before. I have my mind is part of this circuit, a part of the emotional circuit. Yes, it's mental, but my mind has a very fixed mental pattern it goes through. I know the tide charts. I can see storms a brewing, and I can see waves a crashing, and I can see all these different things going on. It's mental. It's not chemistry. It's not. It's different, but it's the fucking same. It's not logical. It doesn't have. Okay, in 3 days it's all gonna be better. You know, I'm gonna feel better about something. So just getting to know, I mean, to actually take the investment, the time to invest in really understanding what that emotional chemistry is and how it works for you. For those of you that weren't here yesterday, D-Rat just dropped some mad, hard ass punch on some people, which was basically quit asking me what you should do. Basically, why are you asking me? You know, here's the tool. Here's what you figure out. It wasn't on this particular subject, but it was somebody that was trying to get their hands on their authority. And it's like, dude, step back. Just watch the fucking thing. You watch and then tell us how it works. You know, and this is the thing that I see that, you know, we use these, you know, you got to teach it and it's got to be put out in some way that someone might be able to understand. But you know, we use these sweeping things and then people try to make them rules or laws or whatever, and they're not that way at all. And for the emotional being, holy shit, you know, this flowing chemistry that is always coloring how you see things. So think of yourself as like walking through life with goggles that are like they're just flipping, they're changing colors and shit. They're shading and coloring everything you're seeing. You know? Now that could be beautiful if you're in tune with it, or it could be a fucking horror show if you weren't in tune with it. See, this is the investigation right here, dude. The investigation is time. It's the one thing that no emotional being is ever given. And it's amazing to me to be training emotional beings, especially men that are old, you know, men that are emotional, that aren't, you know, children. Oh my God, there's so many different perspectives. I mean, you might know about blue, green, and a little yellow. You have no idea the turquoise, the pink, the reds, the oranges, the green. I mean, you have no idea the fucking spectrum. None. It's so amazing to me when I meet emotional people and I can see that they're operating on, they may be tuned into a little bit of their bandwidth or whatever, but what I see as a potential chemistry there, it's like they're not, it's almost as if they've conditioned themselves to stay, not color outside the lines or something. And it's not like I can predict what that will look like. I just look over and I see this huge palette of colors, like, you know, like those the fix-it stores, the billion colors that are there, you know, every shade of blue you could imagine. And you know, they're working with 2 or 3, you know, primary colors, and those that, you know, I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm pissed. Oh, okay, well, I'm thinking there's about 12,000 different colors between those. And and that's the thing that that I don't know that enough emotional beings are given permission, is like, okay, dude, look, if you're emotional, if all you do in this life is investigate what the hell this means, do you understand that you would be a pioneer, like the first person to ever go to the fucking moon, or the first person to sail to America, or the first person to whatever? That if you just figured this out, since nobody, especially Ra, by his own admission, and clearly many of the teachers that have followed, they don't understand this. And so, like, when I put this challenge to you, it's not it's like, fuck, I can't do this one. This is one I can't do. And so there's your challenge. That if you spent the rest of your life getting to know what it means to really deeply be emotional, that would not be a wasted life. That would be a life as a pioneer of consciousness. That's what that would be. Now, of course, your life will take place around that. But to really understand how many chemical perspectives are available and to be lined up with them in your form rather than fighting against them, which is what everyone's doing. Okay. So no truth in the now. I mean, guys, you live under the sea. Now, of course, I had Teresa come in and debunk my one thing that's helped more emotional people than any, but fuck her because it's helped more emotional people than I know what to do with. Guys, you live under the sea. Those of you that have ever been scuba diving, any of those that have either just made some deep, just some dives out in the ocean and so forth, or maybe even just seen some filming of what it looks like for underwater creatures to move slowly and like in this world of like just like this peaceful whatever, okay? And then you come up to the surface, and what do you got? You got waves and boats and seagulls and kite surfing and barbecue. Dude, that's not your fucking world. You sink, you go down, you take time, you push things away. Your consciousness is found in your depth, not in your surfacey little da 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 da, which is so funny because so many of you want to be so da 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 on the surface. You want to be on the surface. Why? Because you're emotional. I want to be deep. Why? Because I'm not emotional. I mean, dude, it doesn't matter which coloring book you got. Don't worry. Your mind won't like it. Never really certain, guys. You can just be, it just basically sort of feels right. And I don't know why. And I don't even know what's going on, but this is just what's going on for me now. I mean, I love it. You can hate your boyfriend 30% of the time. It's okay. You can want to quit your job 40% of the time. It's fine. It's fine. Totally fine. As long as, generally speaking, it's a little more yes than no. That's what you get. Mm-hmm. And then we discover, especially with the generator. I mean, then there's also the signature of the aura. You feel successful. You feel satisfied with the use of your energy, and you feel, at peace because people aren't messing with you. You've had your emotional thing. People got out of your way. Blah, 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 blah. But you're never really certain, and you're not looking for that. And even this thing of, you wait for the nervousness to go away. Okay, maybe there's a calming down in the nervousness. Maybe there's a sense of clarity, like maybe that's a word you would use, but maybe those words have been used way too much. So maybe there's a different word for you, and I just open that possibility that you find that word. What does that space really mean to you? And until then, feel free, or if they're the right words, please use clarity, use a drop in the nervousness, because until the emotions are clear, it kind of have this nervous frequency. But I want to be very specific. That could be just a few people's experience of how that process works. Because I've talked to so many people, I've seen this so many ways, I'm afraid to say this is how it is. What I do know is if you will sit down and shut up and actually listen to the intelligence that's trying to run your life, it will eventually go. I basically think you should go that way. And you're right, we can't wait any longer because there is no more food. So at this point, some movement is going to be necessary. Now look, if every choice you made, you waited that long, then good for you. You're just waiting for the clarity. The emotional people. This is true of the unemotional people too, but just in case. in fact, we're way more guilty of this than you guys are. But so no one actually gets off the hook here. Every major decision, every major bad decision that anybody has ever made, the majority of every major bad decision that anybody has ever made has been made from an emotional place, defined or not. You're happy, let's get married. You're sad, fuck them. It's like, no. As an open emotional person, if I'm emotional, there is no decision, period. There's any emotion around anything, no decision. I just had to do an open emotional caveat there. But on the other side, you know, this chemistry of like, oh, you really feel happy. You go somewhere, you're on vacation. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. I'm going to move there. You move there, it sucks. You go on a few dates. Oh my God, this is wonderful. I love. Yeah, yeah. Your wave crashes. I'm just warning you, man. It's just like, look, if it's for you, it's not going anywhere. If it's for you, it's not going anywhere. See, that's the part of where no one trusts life. They just don't. If it's for you, it's not going anywhere. It's not like, oh, I missed that invitation and now my life will not be the same life. Or I missed a response, or I missed an impact of it. It's not like that. It's not. You know, something just that you don't get clear. Look, most people, if you just keep pushing them away, they'll just go away. In fact, I think that's our next slide. Yeah.
And the spontaneity thing, I didn't put the word, but that was another thing, like the kind of the wanting, but you're not.
Oh, they want to be spontaneous. Yeah. Oh, emotional people. Oh, yeah, these are the people. Oh, you're right. Thank you. No, it's a good one. No, they want to be spontaneous. Oh, yes. Live in the now. Follow your dreams. Do it right now. Emotional people. Yay. Yeah, that's that's a banner behind most emotional people. No, you can be here now without making decisions in the now, guys. You can be aware and present and in your life completely without making decisions right now. Okay. Yeah, and then and the other important thing, the one that yeah, dude, I wish I knew who was here. Some people should be squirming right now. Is that you can't get clear later. So if you enter into some experience, let's say you decide to go into business, you decide to partnership, you decide to go on a trip, you decide whatever, but you decide not from a place where you're not really emotionally clear. You ain't ever gonna get clear. Because dude, it has to come before the movement of energy. This is where the emotions really is like a radar detector for the movement of your life. So those of you that have acted spontaneously and moved yourself into situations before you were clear, and then wondered why you couldn't figure out later, well, why can't I get clear now? Because it's not possible. It's according to basically, I think pretty much every emotional being I really know. It's like, no, that intelligence has to be engaged prior to your physical engagement with the activity, person, or thing. So that's an important one to remember, guys. And you're not spontaneous, so don't be. Be the we'll see. This one I really like. See, this is where the forces are mean to me. Okay, because I could be such a good emotional person. I basically am anyway. We'll see. Maybe later. I like this. This is like the kids are like, "Hey, Grandpa, can we come over and stay next weekend?" We'll see. Let me talk to you when I get back from my trip. Just we'll see. We'll talk later when I get back. Let's not plan ahead. But it's really funny to see emotional people embrace the ability to push things away. The more they're correct for you, the more they'll come back. What's not for you, it'll fade away. It'll go away. You will actually come to the realization that you're pushing or not. It is that simple. It is emotional intelligence. You are either pushing, trying to get something, overriding your body's intelligence, and this is a very strong intelligence. It would seem like it would be one of the easiest to operate out of because it's present and it's there. But that's just like everything seems easier. It's like it's really strong, guys. So you have to have a lot of momentum to overrun it. Not to say that people don't do it continuously. They do. They do quite a good job. They don't listen at all. They know that they're nervous. They know they're not clear. But the hell with that. We need to get it done. You know? Oh well. Whew. Seemed like kind of a tirade on the emotional people. All right. Sacral. Fucking sacral. All right. The sacral beings.
May I share something
Yeah,
that
yeah, go
occurs
ahead.
to me, and I think it's for all of us.
What?
It's much easier to get into something than to get out of something.
Mm.
The mind drives you in,
Yeah.
then the body goes, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
It's so hard to extract.
It's hard to extract.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easy.
Harder.
It's easy to get in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody should make note of that. It's way easier to get in than to get out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that kick in the pants. Oh yeah. Oh, glad you're here, Zoe. Joan made a slide just for you that we did not put in the presentation. She'll share it with you.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just for
No.
you, but it was pretty.
It was, yeah.
It was spot on. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So sacral definition. Okay. Now look, obviously it's a generator. Now what do we know about this? It's a dumb motor. That's what we know about the sacral. Dumb motor. Energy response in the now, available or not. No solar plexus, a third of the planet, energy in response in the now or not. Regeneration, dying abyss. It's like, okay, so here you go.
Yeah.
Here's your two choices. One, I respond to my life. I get more life. My life regenerates. I feel better. I feel satisfied. My energy, I'm having fun. And it doesn't really matter what happens because it doesn't matter because my energy is having fun. The other, I need to get this and I must have it. And I have this engine and I will push myself until my engine gives out and I die. So, I mean, for your sacral friends, I would recommend trying to make it this easy. It may not be that easy for them, but it is that easy. It's the regeneration of energy or not. Now, the generator aura is very special because it pulls the sacral aura, but having it defined sacral means that the aura itself is, it pulls, It pulls life towards it. It's like a heavy object in space. It pulls what's correct towards it. The aura itself is open and enveloping. It's like this black hole sucking things into it. Going. So what do generators do? They go try to do things. And so they're not there when the thing that is for them shows up. And how does it show up? It shows up so that they can respond to it. I mean, depersonalize all this for a second, guys. Forget about it being your life or the life even or anybody's fucking life. Think about it, dude, humanoid, vibrating in space, planet, just so happens perfectly made and aligned to sustain human life. Humanoid on planet with engine that says this is good for your life and that's bad for your life. And then that'd be the end of the book. Well, apparently it's gotten more complicated than that because we have all the dilemmas, What should I do? Where should I go? I mean, we had people this morning throwing quarters and divining hexagrams at my next to me at the coffee shop. It was quite interesting, actually. Trying to figure out what they should do today, whether or not they should go to this party or that party, as if flipping quarters and coins and stuff was going to help them. So we have this life force. We have basically 70% of the planet, 30% with this particular authority, 70% of the planet, life is already coming to them. Where are they going? Why are they pushing on life? What is it they're trying to get? Well, they're trying to get everything that's white in that chart. That's what they're trying to get. That's the only thing they could be trying to get. Everything else will get you.
Mm.
See, that's what I love. Everything else will get you. And this is what it looks like when generators push on their trajectory, right? I mean, it's like this is what it looks like for projectors. Like every day, I just see some train that's gone off the rails. It's like there's just fire everywhere. Usually there's a lot of blame, and then we have to call in investigative teams to figure out whose fault it was. Well, it was the idiot driving the train's fault. Okay, they flew off the track. And it really is like this passenger consciousness of going, oh shit, I just flew off the rails again. It looks like this, guys. Generators are built for response. You're never not in a frequency of response. There is a railroad track for you. Your train may slow down. It may even stop. Hell, some days it might even back up. Okay? But but there is a track for you, you know? And if you just keep giving your energy to that moment, and you will have the right momentum, the right things will come to you, and you will get to respond to them. But you respond in that moment. The energy is available or not. Now, if you're not clear and there is no obvious energetic response in the now, what's the best thing to do always for everyone? Hey, we'll see. Let me check with me in a few days. Sounds like a good idea. This is all the same shit anyone should say. Emotional people. Sounds like a good idea. Talk to me in a few days. But here, really, unless the energy is really there, and I got, some questions that came in yesterday were like, well, does there have to be sounds, no sounds? Look, if sounds is your trip, great. But you trying to get to sounds in order to know what your sacral is doing, to me, is the wrong way around the track. You are responding if you become aware that you're also making sounds, great. If you respond and you realize it's really just a more visceral, physical response in your body, great. But you just sit and look at a generator. Next slide, we'll get there in a second. Dude, it's so obvious. It couldn't be more obvious. I mean, it's like someone picking their nose or not. I mean, it's like, well, no, that was your energy and that was your mind. I mean, it's now look, I understand inside your vehicle, it may not be that obvious at first, but I would think with an ounce of passenger consciousness, and a little training like anything else, many of you are into martial arts and yoga and everything else, that this would become as obvious as picking your nose or not. It's like, oh no, that's my energy or that's not my energy. So just know if you go flying off the tracks and you have a few projectors on the scene just going, okay, another one flew off the tracks, then it's okay. And we'll try to get you, but just be aware, because you'll feel the friction, you'll feel the frustration, and you'll feel all the
and the heat.
What?
And the heat.
And the heat. You'll feel the push. But right before you hit the embankment, yeah. So really, dude, with sacral beings, for generators, period, but for humans, period, but for sacral beings, getting in touch with hearing and feeling their response is critical. It's all they have, okay? I mean, it's all they have. It's a response in the now. It's right there, and it can be, dude. It can be trained. It can be coaxed. It can be worked with. It can be taught. But you just have to be careful about the mind getting involved in all that, because, as a projector, like when I'm sitting with a generator, it's like I'm not listening to what you guys are saying. Most of you have been in class long enough to know that I'm not listening to you. I'm listening to what you're really fucking saying. And that's a scary thing to have around a lot. It's like, yeah, I hear the words coming out of your mouth, but I actually hear what you're really saying. And as a projector, this is a little bit about the generator projector connection here. But, as a guide, period, but certainly as a projector guide, there is a frequency of us always being in question, like, is that true for you? Do you see that? Is that really what you're at? Is that really what the problem is? It's like you just see what the question is. It generally has very little to do with the question they're trying to ask or whatever they think the dilemma is. This is where knowing the open centers, knowing the conditioning, and being able to really be surgeons and bypass the mind. I mean, as projectors, the real gift is us bypassing the fucking mind and getting right to the energy of the person. So when listening to a sacral person, you can, you can hear the unanswered question behind what they're saying. You can hear it. And I'll be damned if it's not usually what comes out of my mouth. It's like there's just this sense of, are you really asking this? I'm not saying that I say it like that. It's just like there's almost a frequency of being around a generator that calls for the other to ask a question. And it is not one of these, well, do you want to get married? Do you want to leave your husband? Should you leave your husband? Is it time to leave? I'm not talking about that bullshit, guys. I'm talking about a very, very specific frequency where the generator energy is open, and whether or not it's another generator or a projector, there is a natural response thing that's happening there. And if you can kind of tune into that movement of energy, even if, you guys that are newer, if you can kind of tune into that movement of energy, you'll see that the real question will be there and it'll get answered. And it'll get answered with energy and not the mind. I hope that wasn't too much, because I just went on a trip that was both sacral and projector related. But these things are very symbiotic in our relationship, guys. And generators, everybody wants to get a hold of, I want to be sure I know what my life is. I want to know that I know that this is my sacral. And some people will be very certain that they know that that is whatever they think that is. I would really encourage you all to be a little less certain about anything. A little less fucking certain that you know or think you know anything. I think that'll serve you in this, because if you will just step back and see for yourself how your vehicle operates, that's going to be and generators are here to know themselves. Emotional generator, you're here to know yourself. This is a lifelong thing. It's not like today I got to figure this out. Just watch. Oh, yeah, my energy responded. Oh, I made a sound there. Oh, I didn't make a sound there. But I didn't make a sound. It must not really be a response. Guys, I deal with this all day long. So I'm just sharing with you, maybe it's just the fractal, the people I had to deal with, whatever, the people that happen to find me, whatever. But, they start by asking me, will I ask them questions about their life? Yeah. Are you happy being a dumbass? I mean, that's about the only question. That's the first question I'm going to ask you. If you're not happy being a dumbass, this is not how we're starting. We can start with figuring out your machine and how it works. Sure, we can start with that. Okay, I see Honolulu.
Yeah. I think you've answered it a certain way,
Okay.
but would you say it is important for emotional generator to hear the sound?
No.
It's not important for any of us.
It's not important for any of you. It's important that you get to know your energy. And I would say that if sound is something that is a natural byproduct, especially with you, Hanalei, single definition, sacral directly to the emotions, unlikely that sound is going to be a predominant thing. Very different than like Luca with all that individual sacral making it right to the throat, if I'm remembering correctly, who's sitting next to you. I mean, that there would just be this natural, the sacral just goes right to the throat, whatever. But with an emotional being, first of all, it has nothing to do with the fucking sound, so who cares? And but if the frequency of generator carries with it the sacral itself carries with it like primal sound. So if you find yourself making sounds, then you make sounds. If you don't, you don't. Is it? Is that?
Mhm.
Did I get it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. I've just seen so many people get confused, either trying to verify that that sound was their sacral, or was that the right question, or was there another question that, I mean, they just get all mind fucked trying to make a sound so that they can know that that's their sacral. And what is that? The mind trying to be certain of something. If that's the way it works for you, great. But it doesn't work for so many people that way. And when you really realize, guys, is all of you, almost all of you, make sounds. You just don't know it. There, see?
Well, yeah.
You just did it.
I know.
But you did you know you were doing it?
Yeah, I can hear them.
You could hear it.
I could hear
but
it.
did you know you were going to do it?
Mm-mm.
Right. Did you know you were going to do that? No. Exactly.
But what you said yesterday, I don't know, was it in or after?
Yeah.
Because I had noticed response and then after that sound. So like the sound is in a way reporting on what already happened in the body.
Absolutely.
Like a millisecond.
Dude, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. Except for the 3420, direct sacral to throat. And nothing else. That is the only instantaneous, and it has to be unconscious, that I've actually heard that the sacral and the sound are aligned. And and then a lot of times they don't even make a sound. They just go, yeah, I'll do it. I mean, it's just the energy's already decided and spoken before the mind can get in there. So I don't know if that, I don't want to get too complicated on this, but the sound is always a reporting mechanism. And that centers, just like any other center, can be influenced by the centers they're around. That doesn't mean that you can't have your own authority around other humans. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we're influenced. That's what we're studying here. These different balls overlay, and we influence each other. So, yeah, the sound thing, if it's natural, but just understand what you're actually doing. It's a reporting mechanism. And when I get the sound from you, the easiest, the cleanest, when I actually can trust it, is when you don't know you're doing it. And I'm not talking, I'm talking to the world now. Is when you don't know you're doing it. And I can feel the energy behind it. You know, I hear sounds all the time with absolutely no energy behind them. And people making major decisions about their lives with, no, I responded. And then they even get in the, no, I responded to doing that, so that's what's going to happen. And I'm like, whoa. We are so far out of bounds. Anyway, if anybody starts a sentence to me, I responded, so blah, 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 you will be excused from my class, okay? Now here's a generator I can get behind. Now here's a generator I can love, okay? Look, you empower yourself by staying in a frequency of response. And I was joking about the response thing. It's just that it's almost become like that's a way you can justify everything you're doing. I responded, so then it doesn't matter what I do, you know, because it's just it's become like this. I don't know, like some sort of get out of school free card or something. You know, if you put those words in front, it's gotten irritating to me. I've heard it too much. Anyway, here's a generator I can love. Let me try again. Guys, you empower yourselves by standing in a frequency of response. Just like I empower myself by standing in a frequency of survival. I am ready to survive or take a nap any fucking second, okay? 1 second, I can launch 6 feet in the air and kick the shit out of guys half my age, okay? Now, enough of them, and yeah, they're going to take me down, but it's going to be a good fight, okay? But I can go from snoozing to flying like that. It's an incredibly trippy thing. So, when I see the generator and I really see the potential, and I remove all of the personalities and I remove all of the stories and what your mommy did to you when you were a kid and you didn't get the pony and the chocolate ice cream and all that shit that all of you are still upset about. And I see what you really are, a frequency, dude, a humanoid on two legs, which is a precarious position to be in to begin with, humanoid on two legs, neocortex, ability to communicate, and an engine that can respond in the now to what is going to make your life better and everybody else's life better around you. Okay, somebody, if you can write me a fairy tale for a better possibility of magic, you go ahead and try. You're the most advanced creature on this planet. You're a humanoid, you're on two legs, you have the ability to communicate, self-reflected consciousness, and you have an engine that will tell you exactly what's healthy for you and what will bring you health and well-being in your life if you'll just listen to it. Now, the first one of you that can get 3 people to even start experimenting with that, I'll go ahead and pass you now. They'll try it once and then they'll go see the psychic tomorrow. I mean, I'm sorry, dude. That's just what it is. People do not want to be they don't want to have the power. People are afraid of having their own fucking power. They're afraid that no one's going to tell them what to do. Oh, that was another thing that Dora remind me. I'll get to you on that. Another person that comes from a culture where people are supposed to tell you what to do. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. You can't get your life as long as you let your mind and everyone else's mind push you around. So yeah, dude, if you got to be a little hard at first, protective of yourself, all you're saying is I love myself, that I'm not going to be manipulated by you. You're not saying you're not definitely not saying you need to be a dick to someone else. I'm definitely not encouraging you to be a dick or whatever. But that's not what you're saying. You're just saying I am available to respond in this moment, and I will hold my ground right here until it is time. I mean, just think of the magic. If you can get some mythology going behind that, what that really means to be on this planet, flying through space, be a humanoid, self-reflected consciousness, neocortex, larynx drop, ability to communicate, and built-in navigational system that won't just make your life better, but will make everybody's life better. Not that you should do it for them, but your frequency that you give off regenerates everything around you, instead of what we have is this big frustrated fucking mess that I'm afraid of out there. Anyway, did I do okay with the generator? All right. So this is the empowered generator. This is what I hope for all of you. Ready to respond. Yeah. Not necessarily looking for a fight like me. I don't even have to look. I don't even have to look. They just show up. Fights show up in my mailbox. I mean, it's just. I mean, people send me lawsuits and email. You're a dick. Yeah, I know. So what? All right, guys. Look, I kind of went off a bit today. We're already at noon. Do we want to go ahead and just? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
If you can.
I can, because it's the spleen. And we're fast. So,
especially with coffee.
Yes. 2 sips of coffee and you're about to get the splenic lecture in 30 seconds. Okay, we're alive. The end of the lecture. Ha ha, we're alive. Those of you that asked do spleens laugh? Yes, we laugh. We laugh because we survived. And because we have an awareness that knows that 40,000 babies an hour don't. And we've been eaten millions of times. And we live from that intelligence. It's a very cool place to live from. But yeah, are we aware that this movie could end in a nanosecond? Yes, we are. It's like switching that light off. It's just over. I think that's a very different frequency to live from than like a generator frequency where you are life. You know, this so when we get to intuition, you know, again, this is our oldest and it's our quietest and it's our weakest. And I just mean weakest in terms of this, guys. The mind is way, way louder, okay? And the emotions is twice as loud as the fucking mind. I mean, if you actually do the whole hierarchy here, you know, basically you'll get emotional and that'll try to push your body. Your mind will get in there and make excuses for why you should act on those things. You'll probably be getting some energetic pushes from other places. And you got this one little quiet voice that says yes or no, and it only whispers once, and it is existential. It is quiet, speaks once. It's very aware. It's like when I'm tuned to my splenic to the splenic side of me, and I get these lymphatic hits through my body all the time. And I'll explain that more in a second. But this lighting up of this light body inside, but there's these other places that I found, and again, a lot of this has to do more with some of the shamanic stuff that I am and have been involved with. But it's almost like I'm tapping in, like really seriously, like tapping into like an awareness that's like 60,000 years old or something. I mean, it actually feels like that. Now, I imagine that everybody has that because we've all been here since the beginning of whatever. Okay, I mean, we've all been here, but there is something that I've known since my teens that is ancient, that rings almost like a bell in my body, and it's very ancient, and it's only in the right circumstances I really hear it with that sort of clarity. And more what I'm going to talk about today is how the spleen generally works for me and most people. But we're about 10% of the population, so it's either going to be a projector or a manifestor. Now, what do these two things have in common? Well, we're not generators. so right there, we're gonna have to start with, well, there's not gonna be a lot of shit going on, okay? I mean, maybe a little over here, a couple of things over there, but you know, first of all, you know, we got enough time to chill out and probably listen for the spleen because we're not gonna be that busy, which is a helpful thing. But it is only survival in the now, guys. I mean, everyone thinks it's so cool. Oh, it must be cool to be splenic. Yeah, you know how much I know? I know I'm alive right now. Well, don't you know what to do? Yeah, I know what to do. Move. It's a fucking rock is falling. I mean, dude. I mean, that's the level of aware. This is the great awareness I live with. You know, don't you know in the moment what to do? Yeah, I know. Get the hell out of the way. I mean, that's what you know. In intuitive hits, you know, I want to be careful with this only because I have a very, very strongly defined splenic system. Very strong. It would be difficult to have it be more strongly defined. And it goes directly to my behavior. So even for me to isolate the spleen and say splenic characteristics to you is going to be influenced very, very much by how it works for me. Even though I'm going to do my best to not do that to you, I'm just saying it's just a disclaimer. You know? So I have this adrenal fuel that moves up to my splenic center. Any of you that have the route to the spleen will have this. And so you've got both adrenalized energy going to your intuition, or I do at least, you know, and it has to be defined somewhere. So, you know, it's a common place for it to be defined. You know, it's very different though than like the spleen to the throat. I mean, when talking with people with that, it's a very different type of connection. But in general, when we say the spleen, and those of you that have some biology background and stuff are going to go, but it's in the wrong place on the chart. Yes, I know. Yes. Just like there's a lot of things that are wrong in human design, but never mind all that. Okay. When we talk about the spleen, why is it there? Well, that's because where the voice told Ra to put it. Okay, that's the best answer. What we're really talking about is the lymphatic system itself. So we're talking about it goes through like 30 or 40% of the cells of the entire body. It is the actual light body within the body. It's like little tongues and ears and noses. It's at a level it's almost tactile, but more with a little bit of a radar feel to it, but only for that nanosecond. I keep trying to explain to you guys, no matter how fast you are, Joan's fast. I mean, she's fucking fast. Spleen sacral. Dude, in my world, she's as slow as a turtle. I mean, that's the fastest possible sacral configuration, and you might as well be the tortoise in the air. You know, it's like, and I know a little bit of this projector too, but I just see, I can't do shit about it, of course, but I just see, it's like I'm always like it's almost like I'm almost living in the future. Not that anybody else is slow. It's almost like I've got this thing I'm a little ahead of time by nanoseconds, I'm sure, milliseconds or whatever. Nothing that could be actually probably measured, but I know before things happen, or I know as they're happening, and it takes everyone else a few nanoseconds to catch up with it, however you want to look at that. But it is almost like the cells that are in this light body are they're tactile, they smell, they hear. I talk a lot about, like, I smell the wind. It's like I know something. I can feel the force. It's like something's coming, you know. And the sensation or means of hearing is not the same for everyone. Thank you. Learn what it is for you. Okay, great, because it can be strong and it can be subtle. And I've had situations where it was just this whisper, get off the highway. Dude, literally a few seconds before a truck carrying all this wood, like side railed and wrecked and, you know, whatever. They had to spend the day picking all this shit up and traffic jams. I mean, dude, story after story that I'm not going to get into here of knowing in the moment, just not knowing why I did what I did, and then seeing, holy shit, I just either avoided something very ugly or survived. Even to the point where, like in skydiving, having all these lines going everywhere, and way before mine, being able to figure out which ones to pull on and to get parachutes open and things. It is survival in the now. And again, guys, it sounds nice. I get it, you know. Oh, you go with your intuition in the now. Well, yeah, except it may only speak once every 6 months. If you happen to be watching TV, you'll miss it. Or you could miss it. No is always way stronger because of the survival orientation of the spleen. You're always going to feel no way faster. Or most people find no way faster. Part of the problem for me as a projector is when I learned human design, I actually, because of martial arts and extreme sports and a lifetime spent doing singing, I was pretty tuned to what intuition was. I didn't have the right words for it. I have the same level of material and mechanical understanding, but I knew what intuition was because it had saved my life so many times. I mean, I just kind of knew what it was. What I didn't understand was my aura. So, guys, when you come to people with intuition as their authority, please, even more so than I've stressed in every other case, please stress aura first. Because if you don't get the aura right, you can have intuition all day long. People that don't have intuition as their authority, open or closed, you can have intuition all day long. It's whether or not your body moves. So I had to unlearn some things, literally, in my understanding of intuition, to actually get more comfortable with how this spaceship flew. Because I'd have an intuition and think everybody wanted to hear about it. I knew what was going to happen, and I would open my mouth and tell people. I found out real quick that was not exactly the way the machine was set up. And it took me a while. Okay. So I need you guys to learn what this is for you by really focusing on your aura mechanics and getting the Tai Chi, the Qigong, the Kung Fu, however you want to look at it, of how your aura works, whether you need to be invited and there's that laser in and there's a real open invitation for you to be focused, or there's a point of impact because you're a manifester. There's a place where that hit is solid, it's clean, it's not sloppy. Those places, if you really focus, because those are places you can focus on all day long, every day. You don't have to wait for the spleen to say something. I mean, even the sacral is a much more active. I mean, all these other authorities you can work with. You can see how you feel. You can talk things through if you have some of these different authorities. You can even ask questions. You know, I'm not saying try to make major decisions, but you can even ask questions to try to get where your energy's at with your sacral. The spleen, it's anybody's guess, you know. Sometimes he's talking all the time. Sometimes he takes vacations. I have no idea, you know. No logic whatsoever. And if you miss it, you miss it. So what I say is, as guides, and those of you that are splenic, obviously I'll work with you directly on how that works for you, and we'll uncover all that. But as guides, that to really put the emphasis back on, you can talk about it being intuitive hit, you can talk about it being gut feelings, but again, there you go, that's sacral and emotions. I mean, the way it's written in most places, it's true. I just don't know if I would put that in a book and hand that out to the world and say, this is how it works. I would say, it's easy for me to say, these are true, basically, and they're good pointers, but really to tune them into their aura first, because that level of body consciousness and awareness will train them to be aware of, first of all, fucking being here, 2, not being in your mind, 3, watching the vehicle, and after you jump all of those checklists, you might actually know how to move when a brick's about to fall on your head.
Or to move.
Yeah, you may move.
Do you want to take a question right now?
I see that there is one.
Yeah. From emotional generator, I will hear a voice with the spleen, I think, here. A voice say something like, leave, go now, yes, no, not my authority, but the spleen is defined. I assume it's splenic intuition. So that's a question.
Yeah, okay. So stay, leave, or go. And see what happens. I have no idea what that is. I know that she has a lot of integration. I know that's all survival mechanism. Dude, this is not, I mean, sacral would say the same thing. Stay, go, get the fuck out of here would say the same thing. You know, potentially. But the reality is this. You're not making a major decision about your life and your trajectory. That's what I was saying. You can all be intuitive in the now to, oh, no, this doesn't feel right, I'm leaving, whatever. That's fine. But if it's your authority and it's how you're going to make the major decisions about your life, that's something else entirely. And like I said, whether you have the, I mean, the people with the most intuition are the people with the undefined spleens. You don't have your intuition, you have all the intuition. You've got all the intuition there's ever going to be. And yes, you can be very intuitive for others if they ask, because most of you are projectors. Yeah. So I would say just experiment with that and just see, because it's not, you know, it's not trying to guide your life. Yeah. Okay. And then my baby. I love my baby. No. No, this could be a self-portrait. No. No. My usual answer to everything. No.
With a little bit of fear.
Yeah, no, bad. No. Within 5 minutes later, it could be good. And my friend Paul tells a funny story. It's funny because he's black. He always tells a funny story about how, like, everything, you know, when he brings something up, I'm always like, no. Like, and then 3 months later, it was my idea, you know. And I didn't really recognize that in myself. It took someone being a good friend for a long time to see, oh, yeah, I do that. Like, there's all sorts of things in here that were actually your ideas that somehow became mine. Yeah. like the we did things.
Uh-huh.
Yes, we did them.
Well, yeah.
But just know that it can change. Now, for me, I only have. I've talked about it before. It's very specific to my design. I only have a really big cutting nose in certain situations, and those really big cutting nose, I have never seen it change later. I just haven't. On little things, sure, it's just my stupid mind or whatever. But on these bigger things, where it's generally humans, it's humans has to do with their behavior. Again, all my design. I will cut them out of my life. I'll never speak to them a fucking bit. It's worse than that. They cease to exist. It's almost as if I'm so existential that if you are not in my lasers, like you guys are in my class, you're really here. As soon as you quit coming, you do not exist. I don't mean, I know everyone's like that a little bit, right? If, whoever's around you is around you and whoever's not is not, or whatever, that's what life is doing. But it's almost as if they actually get erased from time. Like they don't even exist on the planet. I forget that they exist. I don't know if that is a splenic thing or not, a projector thing or not, but I do know that either you have my focus and I'm really into helping you, and that's how you know, because I'm trying to help you. Either you're there for me splenically or you're not. And as soon as you're not, it's almost like you just start to evaporate or something. It's very strange. For good or bad, that's just how it works. And I don't, is that true for you too? I mean, do they cease to exist?
Many.
Yeah.
Not all.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No,
yeah, I mean the most recent departure from my life is really gone. Once in a while I think of her, but she's no longer living in my anything that counts.
Yeah. Right. I wish I had the camera on for that.
Oh. Oh, did I have a face?
Hey, I'm gonna try to do what Joe did. She's not involved with anything that counts. It was pretty much
really.
Well, I mean, I animated it.
Okay.
Of course, I animated it, but of course, I made it a little bit more extreme than it was. But,
and I think that's the thing. It is an intuitive on off. Yes, no. That's what that other slide was about, right? I mean, or instinctive. I don't know. If
it's dude. It's there. It's not there. Mm-hmm. You're healthy for me. You're not healthy for me.
And it can change.
Yeah, and it can change very quickly. Yeah, it's amazing to me, dude. I go hiking with people, and or would paddle out to surf breaks with guys that had never been out in these particular waves or know anything about the currents and the rip tides and everything. It just like they're at fucking Disneyland. Taking, I mean, the fucking hippies in Hawaii. Oh, we'll take showers under the waterfall. Well, there's 2,000 pounds of water an hour or a minute coming out down there. There's probably going to be some rocks coming with it. I mean, just stupid shit that does not occur to people. It's like, yeah, the locals take the shower too, but they get a little under the where the big rocks can't hit you. And every 6 months or so, you have to drag some stupid dead hippie out of a waterfall. It's like, I mean, tourists, just like they do here on Kauai, they just pull over on the side of the world like they're at the Epcot Center or something. Like this is Disneyland and the tram is stopping. Well, no, that tram is our highway. Okay, that's the only road on the island. It's the only road in Sedona. You do not stop in the only lane of traffic so you can take a selfie. I mean, my friends that ride along, my friends that are roadies that ride bikes here, they go, dude, we find cell phones and cameras like 2 or 3 a day. Like people landing out there trying to take selfies while they're driving. It's just people are stupid.
So it's common. So it's a common sense thing.
Here. Well, for me it is, but survival is my frequency. That's what I'm saying. If you're splenic and that's really your authority, and we don't have any splenic manifestors in here today. We don't have any splenic manifestors this year, period. But it can be uncomfortable with being so subtle with the splenic. I mean, you can get so caught in trying to make things happen. As a manifester, of course, you can just push your way right through whatever and make whatever happen anytime, anyway. And what happens is the tree falls on you after, okay? With the spleen, I mean, it's like, I mean, as a projector, dude, I can push on a tree all day long. It ain't fucking going anywhere, guys. To get to that level of subtlety, like in the movement of energy, how things move, it's and to trust that the intuition will be there. I mean, to really live in that frequency of trust, everyone thinks it sounds, oh, in the now, that must be wonderful. It's like, do you have any idea the level of anxiety, the mind? Dude, it means that you never know until then. And it means you're never going to know until then. And there will never be a time when you will know before then. Now, how many people can wrap themselves around that? I mean, emotionally, all the other authorities, even sacral, it's like the energy, yeah, the energy is there or not, okay? But it's a very obvious thing. I mean, a splenic cut comes, and it's like, dude, there's no logic. It could look, especially with the spleen, can look very destructive because usually you're cutting shit out of your life that ain't supposed to be there and saying, get away from me because you're not healthy. A lot of times those can be, personal or business relationships or professional relationships. I mean, for me in particular, in the world of human design, where I've flat out just said no to, other teachers and stuff and back the fuck off, and to my supposed detriment, according to some of them, oh, you're not playing nice with others. I've never played nice with others. I didn't know we were in the playing nice with other game. If we're playing playing nice with others game, then I better quit. Because I'm not teaching the right shit. I'm teaching people how to be warriors and gladiators of their own fucking truth, come what may. Did I miss a memo somewhere? Maybe there was one. Since I'm not on the newsletter, I missed it. We're all supposed to be nice and get along and basically say the same thing and agree with each other. What? You guys are teaching the wrong thing. Anyway, sorry. My momentary lapse into my own madness. All right. This whisper thing, guys. The in the now experience of survival is very different than the intuitive guidance, the whispers that come in the space between the gaps. They really are whispers. For me, I describe a lot of what I get from my spleen as being very physical. But again, guys, that's because there's a very strong connection with my adrenals. And it goes to my behavior. So it's really all one thing. It's not easy for me to just say, this is just the spleen, because I get hit with an adrenal fuel and it formats my behavior. I'm moving before I even know what the fuck happened, because it goes right to what I'm gonna do. Okay. But I've seen this, but I've also seen in the quiet places where survival wasn't it and there wasn't emotion or something involved. It was really strange. It's interesting to see that whisper of intuition come, just like, nah, you're fucked. Or, nah, it's gonna be okay. It's like everyone's freaking, no, it's gonna be okay. Usually for me, what it is these whispers, unfortunately, I get them weeks or months before the actual events actually occur. And personally, at least, especially when they get all wrapped up and connected with my own shit, which unfortunately still happens, I can be suffering about knowing what's coming months before it gets here. And whether or not that is a personal thing, or at some level of my evolution, I'm going to be able to just go, no, I don't care if it hasn't happened yet. I know it's coming, and cut it off. because I've really tried to live like a projector, and I haven't made those movements in the forces. Like I haven't ended things, even though I knew they were going to be ending. I've lived as a projector, really testing that whole thing. There may be a point where that changes a bit because it's gonna fucking happen. I already got the memo. In fact, the memo's collecting dust. I'm just waiting for the pink slip or whatever when they fire you or whatever the the cancellation notice to go. So there is that, and guys, if you're caught in your mind and you're caught in your emotions, you can't hear these whispers. You're not going to be smelling the wind. You're not going to be tuned in to the survival of the planet and the species in the moment, which is what being splenic means. It means you are the existential awareness of survival on this planet. Okay? And if it's your authority, it's where you make decisions, life or death decisions from. See, that's the other thing, and maybe we should maybe kind of stress here, is that splenic decisions are life and death decisions. They're not, it'd be nice to go to dinner decisions. I feel like taking a cruise decisions. They're much more significant life and death decisions. So that's another thing that to help not scare you, but bring you into awareness of the significance of what you're really dealing with in that lymphatic system. You have something else?
Oh no, I'm just really through maybe preparing this and also listening, really getting that it is it's the spleen.
Yeah.
Its keynote is survival.
Yeah.
Or health.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if that's your authority.
Your survival or your health or well-being in the now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Always now. Dude, now. That's what you get as a splenic being. Now. Now we could play with these either way, whether projector or manifestor, either could be either, really, dude. The gunslinger, manifestor, or projector, dude, you are waiting either for the forces to dictate now, or to be reacting to something coming at you. Fuck you, and I'd take you out before you even blink. Or we could be the Buddha, or there's the other side, I'm not sitting on any rattlesnakes. I'm enjoying gazing at the sun, manifestor or projector, just sitting there being, but waiting, really in a frequency of waiting before, anything's going to happen. And that to really get that, I know it sounds great, and I know the New Age loves to promote the now, and even I, like Eckhart Tolle, the power of now. I think it's good work. I think it's great, as long as you don't think that's the end all either. It's like it's good anchoring yourselves in the now. Being present is very different, guys, than living as an existential being. Being present is different than living as an existential being. Existential being means the only thing I ever have is my heretical behavior to survive in the now. And that's the end of the story. And I think it's the end of our presentation. Except for the girl that I love. No, she's kind of dark, and this is kind of my dark elven high priestess. The owl, was he out doing good, or stealing secrets from the other wizards? We're not clear. I like things that allow for both spectrums of light and dark. I don't intend to attract too many fussy bunnies. But really, guys, this is what it means, dude, to stand as your own authority. To stand, I mean, I like this because it's archetypical. You've got the bear, the wolves in the background. You've got the owls. You all have your Jedi superpowers, and a lot of you are cloaked or veiled. And, wherever those 2s and 5s are, dude, you're cloaked, you're veiled. People don't really see you, And we all have these crazy little mythologies, and we have these superpowers. And if you start to animate them the way I do, my mind's got a character. I got all these characters. It makes the trip a little bit more fun. It does. But I also have that creative, insane mind, so don't try this at home. All right. Good for today?
Mm-hmm.
Are we done?
For this, yeah.
Okay, good.